Is this too early for Anthony?
No, I'm sitting here.
I'm not hearing much enthusiasm in the voice there. I'm going, he's probably still asleep.
Well, the easiest way for Anthony to take care of that would be to move next door to me in central U.S.
Oh, well, there you go.
I like that fireplace behind you, Greg.
That was a background I did for a Zoom theater production for A Christmas Carol a few years ago.
All right, we are live. We'll start in about 4 minutes or so, but just checking Twitch here. Yep, we are live on Twitch. I'm gonna check the sound. Watch now. Let's go test the sound. Good. Sounds perfect. Okay, we're live on Twitch. So this is exciting. We got another year.
Back again.
Yeah, back again.
How many years have you guys been judging?
Oh,
this is my 14th year with the fair.
I think I'm the oldest judge here. The longest judge here.
I started in 2003, and you were the coordinator.
Right.
No, Donna was the coordinator.
Donna. So then now that's before I came on after Donna as a coordinator.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, you've been judging. Yeah. Since
I was judging before. Yeah, is that a long time?
For a long time. Yeah.
So,
I started in 2007, and you started after me, Stephen, because you were still competing with Lee and others at that time.
Okay.
What year were you coordinating? You remember?
Oh, I don't remember. Was it the 90s?
No, it was early 2000s.
Early 2000s?
It was like 2009 or something like that.
So
we're really starting to show our age. We're sitting here talking about this old
speak
stuff.
for yourself.
Anyway.
It's weird to talk about the 90s because it seems like the 90s were just recently.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
There's an old saying that the days are long, but the years are short.
Amen to that, sister. And I'm not old, actually. I'm of late middle age.
I just had to stop going to concerts because I got tired of my wife going, oh my God, they look so old.
Oh, you want to hear a good one? I was walking out of the fair one time, walked by the grandstand, and Peter Frampton was the big act on the stage.
Right.
He's balder than me.
He's bald.
I met him at NAMM. And one of the nicest, and he's very short, but he's one of the nicest guys you can meet. I mean, I got to talk to him for maybe, 33 seconds, but still, Peter Frampton,
He certainly didn't look like Frampton Comes Alive.
Oh.
Can you feel like he does? Oh, wait. Can you feel like you? Oh, never mind.
Oh my gosh, we can't go there.
I'm going to stop while I'm behind.
Hey, John, I'll be sending you an email as to what it'll cost you to delete this recording.
It's too late. You wouldn't leave the stuff that's out there. Most of it on my own YouTube channel. Kind of scary.
This is great. All right, so people are jumping in now. I will be doing Facebook advertisement while you guys are speaking, or Lois is speaking. I guess about another minute or so, we'll start the presentation. Storage space, but let's put it in there. Okay, there we go. All right, just kind of checking everything out here. And let's go check Twitch. All right, good. Well, a bunch of people are jumping in now. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning, everybody out there in Twitch world, and good morning to all of our judges. Well, I tell you what, I think it would be wise to just kind of let everybody introduce themselves, and I'm going to go according to the order that I see on my screen. But of course, we'll start with Lois Fong Sakai.
Hi, I'm Lois Fong Sakai, and I'm the senior coordinator of the San Diego County Fair's photo exhibition.
And Jennifer Wolf.
Hi, I'm one of the judges. I've been judging, I think, for 8 or 9 years for the
Wow.
exhibition.
Yeah, wonderful. And Dwayne Murphy.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Murphy of Great American Portraits. I've been judging for going on 5 or 6 years at this point, so I guess that makes me the newbie.
Rookie.
And John Watts.
Aren't you jealous, John?
I am, sir. You have more hair. Anyway, I'm John Watts with Watts Digital Imaging, and I guess we were just trying to figure it out, but it's my being a judge is measured not in years, but in decades, unfortunately. So, yeah, basically, yeah, that's it.
All
Did you want
right.
any more? There's nothing more to know.
Greg
You've
Clamp.
got as many decades as I have years. Woohoo!
And Greg.
Get off my lawn.
I'm Greg Clampt, and I've been judging at the fair since 2007.
All right. And Anthony Washington.
My name is Tony Washington. I've been a judge for 3 years now, so I got Dwayne beat. So.
Okay, great. Okay, well, you know what? We do this. This is the Photoshop. So we're the Photoshop users group. I will be putting links in the chat box for those who are on Twitch. We have a Facebook page. In fact, here I'll drag it on out to the screen here so that you guys can see this. We'll go to Photoshop users group here, and on our Facebook page, this is our group, our official location. We're currently about 32,000 members, and it's a place where you can just share your work, ask questions, entertain techniques, help each other out. It's a great site. So definitely become a member of the Photoshop users group. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to copy that link, and I will send it out to you. And so I'm going to just elevate it like this so everybody can see it on screen. So I just put the link into the chat box. So take a look at it in your Twitch chat box. Go on and join, become a member. It's free, and be a part of the Photoshop users group. All right. So every year, our first meeting of the year is always the judges roundtable discussion. And San Diego has the largest international photography exhibition in the country. And that's a fact. It's one of the most competitive exhibitions. The quality of the work is up there, top notch. It's tough to get in, and it's submitted, and the submissions are by the thousands. What I want to do is allow Lois Fong Sakai to kind of take it from here. She's going to share with you everything you probably want to know about the exhibition. If you have questions, put it in the chat box. I will display it, and we'll get them answered as the presentation goes. All right, Lois, you want to take it over?
Hello there, everybody. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. And hopefully you'll be seeing the PowerPoint presentation.
Yep.
All right. So San Diego County Fair is the host of the International Exhibition of Photography. I've been with the fair. This is going to be my 14th year. And we are, in fact, as Stephen mentioned, the oldest and the largest juried print competition in North America. So that includes Canada.
Okay.
We started in Balboa Park at the Photographic Arts Building, which is next to Spanish Village, back in the mid-1940s. So because the Navy used to run the photo competition, they would have sailors and other people from all over the world enter the photo competition. And to this day, we still have had people get off airplanes from Asia, from Europe, Central America, South America, and come directly to the fair to see their prints in our gallery. So before the pandemic, we had about 4,500 entries. Last year, we had 3,400 entries. So we only have the ability to hang 1,200 images. After that, we don't have any more wall space. So the chances of your getting in depend on how many entries that we get each year. We have 38 categories this year, including several new ones. So our largest and most popular division are color photographs. We have the traditional spring, summer, fall, and winter pictures. And a few years ago, we started something that's called timeless landscape. So it's pretty easy to define what a traditional season is. Spring might be flowers, summer, it might be, people having fun, or something that's depicts summer weather, and fall, autumn colors. If you have snow or ice, it'll probably be winter. If you take a picture in Iceland in the summertime and there's snow and ice in it, please don't enter that in summer. That really should go in winter, or as what we think of as being winter in this side of the hemisphere. So it really is what the picture kind of depicts that we typically think of rather than the time that it was taken. Now, timeless actually fits a lot of photos that are taken here in the Southwest. It could be deserts, it could be sandscapes. If you have a photograph that's a landscape that doesn't screen one of the traditional four seasons, it will probably fit here. Now, if you have a person in the picture, like grandma knitting on a porch, that could be a timeless picture, but it's certainly not a landscape picture. So that picture of grandma should actually be in a people category. If you like water and water details, seascapes and waterfalls, landscape type pictures, those should go in class 6 for waterscapes. City and architectural buildings should go in the next category. And if you have people pictures and they're color photographs, we have 2 different categories. One is where you, as the maker, have control of the making of the photo. If you're able to tell the people or the families what to wear, how to pose, where to move, whether to stand or sit, if you bring flash in, or if you're bringing bounce cards, reflectors, those would be pictures that you make where you have complete control. They would belong in formal pictures of people. However, if you have absolutely no control of the making of a photograph that has people in it, except where to stand and when to click your shutter, if it's a travel photo, that would be informal. We have flowers, which could be arranged or in nature, and all other plants and trees for things that are plants and trees, not flowers, in other color photographs. So wild animals and mammals really is about the wild animals. So like dolphins, orcas, killer whales, those are all mammals. However, a few years ago, somebody entered a photograph of a man under wild animals and mammals. And perhaps the photographer thought this person was a wild animal, but it's certainly not what we're thinking of in this category, and that photograph of that person should go in people formal or informal. We have a lot of birders in this community. So if you entered a bird picture, I suggest that you consider entering those photographs where birds are doing something interesting or they are mid-flight. And then our catch-all category for color photographs of animals is class 14, which includes insects, reptiles, amphibians, and photographs taken at aquarium through glass or other aquarium life. We have had people enter photographs of snails here also. Apparently some people have pet snails. So that's kind of our catch-all. So our most popular category is being renamed smartphone this year. It used to be cell phone category. So the best photograph that you take is the one that you take with the camera that you have with you. And pretty much everybody has a phone on their person these days. If you do enter this category, be sure to tell us the type of phone and how you processed it also. Now, just because you took a photograph with a smartphone does not mean that you have to enter it only in this category. You can certainly enter it in any of the other 37 categories that we have.
Lois,
Yes.
something that comes up quite often, and this gets back to category number 5. If I happen to be in San Diego, and I happen to be in Balboa Park, and I happen to get an amazing photograph of a 5-person, fully dressed, traditionally dressed mariachi band, where does that go?
That would probably go under people informal. If you did not have the ability to direct the people or bring in lighting, then that would be people informal.
This is something that we seem to run into almost every year where people read it because they're formally dressed and place it in the wrong category. So we're talking about the photographer's ability to create the photograph and not the dress of the people.
Correct. We do have another category that it could possibly fit in, and we're going to get into that in the next page. So let me talk quickly about black and white. So we tend to not get as many black and white entries, and I highly recommend that if you have a photograph, turn it into a black and white and play with it and just kind of see how it looks also. We had a photographer that she was in Eastern Europe, took a picture at nighttime of a photo, and due to the lights in the town square, everything in the photograph looked orange. She remembered that photographs that are red and orange can oftentimes turn into beautiful black and white photographs. So she did so, and the judges liked the photograph so much they gave it a first place in black and white architecture in cityscapes. And not only did it win first place there, the judges, all of them, selected it to be the best in show that year. So if you kind of play around with your pictures and think a little differently, you can be rewarded with a beautiful picture. So moving on to photographs that could be color or black and white, the first one is documentary. And so of all of the different categories, documentary photos have the most restrictions as to the type of processing that you can have. So if you think of Time Magazine or the newspaper, think of National Geographic. Things have to be exactly where they are and as you shot it for the most part. You can crop a picture, you can make little pieces of portions of the picture lighter or darker, so that's not dodging or burning. You can turn it into a black and white photo if you so desire. You can put a vignette around the edge of the photograph. But what you're not allowed to do is to move the location of the pyramids, which had happened on a cover of National Geographic several years back. You cannot add anything, you cannot subtract anything, except for perhaps censor spots. It's the most restrictive, and it should hopefully tell a story. And hopefully your title and your description should help tell that story also, since judges can see those during Tier 1 judging, and they may ask for it also. Now, Dwayne, you had mentioned the photograph that you had made or seen of mariachis being performing in Balboa Park. That could possibly fit under documentary also. So just something for consideration, and sometimes it's based on what the maker thinks the photograph should fit in.
So we have a question.
Yes.
If you would explain what you mean by sensor spots.
If you have dust on your sensor, you'll have dust spots or dark spots in your picture. So you can go in, you can zoom in 100%, look at your digital file, and you can clone out those dirty spots in your photograph, in your file. If you have spots or a dirty lens, you can get spots in pictures also. If you love taking detailed pictures, that would be macro pictures, or it could even be microscope pictures. Someone actually took red wine one time and dehydrated it and made it into crystals and took photographs using a microscope. Really, really interesting. But it could be bugs, it could be insects, it could be anything that you make larger than life, but in reality is quite small. We have a lot of options for sports activities. We got plenty of surfers. We've got the traditional sports, soccer, baseball, but we think of other type of sports that we have that others may not shoot. If you shoot a sport that's different, let's say dog sledding or people rowing, that's going to be something that the judges may not see that much of, and it may have more impact.
Lois, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Can I go back to the documentary again?
Yes.
Did you say that as far as dust removal, that can be done in the documentary category?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, thank you. That's all I want to know. Thanks.
Yeah, but you cannot move anything.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Let me see. So still life, I encourage folks to go to art museums or even just look up still life pictures just to study them. And what still life is the placement of inanimate objects to tell a story about life. So it could be fruits, a bowl of fruit, it could be flowers, it could be cameras, instruments, anything that you put together to make a beautiful picture of items that you place could qualify in here. So abstract is, I know Stephen Burns, one of favorite types of art is when you can't tell what the item is. If you like to go underwater and scuba or snorkel, this is the category for you, the water experience, where you as the photographer must be underwater or deep in water in the making of that photograph. So I had mentioned on the earlier slide how we had a different category for aquarium. So think about this. If you're going underwater, you have a completely different skill set, and we recognize that. If you take photographs of family members interacting and you have a special moment or them laughing, that's something that would fit in family moments. Nighttime is, of course, after the sun goes down. It could be deep galaxy pictures, could be Milky Way pictures, could be moon pictures. But we've also expanded the category so that if you have solar eclipse pictures that you've taken and that you've never entered at the fair, you can enter those photographs under the category of night, because for a few minutes, we do have what is indeed looks like night. New this year, as every year, is the fair theme, Once Upon a Fair. It's all about storytelling and fairy tales. What kind of story are you telling with your photo? And we're also going to be teaming with Little Free Libraries and with all of the county libraries to kind of tie in as to the importance of storytelling. If you'd love to bring your camera or even your cell phone to the fair and you've taken pictures, pictures from any year could be entered if from the fair at previous years. Things that move are mechanical. So, of course, cars, airplanes, ships, but it could be tools also. It could even be a still life of tools if that's what you like to make. But things that move, things with machines. Our best friend is returning this year after hiatus last year because it was the same as our fair theme, which was Summer Pet-tacular last year. So some of my favorite best friend pictures have been dogs and cats. But we've also had longhorn bulls, chickens. We've had dogs dressed up and sitting in beauty chairs. And one that I'll never forget, a boa constrictor squeezing a tube of toothpaste. So not that long ago, our photo gallery was primarily film photos, photographs taken by film, slide film, traditional film methods. However, in the last probably 15, 20 years, photography has changed a lot. Now, most of the pictures that are entered are done with digital cameras, with cell phones. But we still have a space for film and alternative process because that's where we come from. So if you have old pictures, or if you're returning to film, or learning about film now, this is the category for you. These would be images that you produce in a darkroom and photo restoration, or they could be alternative process, which could be Polaroid emulsion lifts, or it could be cyanotypes. And we have had workshops on both the cyanotypes and Polaroid emulsion lifts in the past. So those are the type of things that you could also enter in this category. We have a lot of things to celebrate this year. This year is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So we have a special one-year category for the spirit of America. What does the spirit of America and being American mean to you? Is it a parade? Is it fireworks? Is it people? Is it costuming? On top of that, late last year, California has been celebrating the 175th year this year as the 31st state joining the United States. So we also have the spirit of California as a special one-year celebration and category. So if you take photographs and you recomposite them and manipulate them to make a brand new image, digital photographic art is the category for you. When you enter during Tier 1, be sure to enter thumbnails of your original photographs along the edge of the photo so that the judges can look at your original photos and see how you composited everything. If you do not include it, the judges will ask for all of the thumbnails. So be sure that you put a collage together with the larger finished photo and the thumbnails along the edges. If you have a photograph that will look amazing in the larger than 16 by 20 that all the other pictures need to be entered and submitted in, then large prints is the category for you to enter. Now, large prints would include panorama pictures that are bigger than 2:1 or 3:1. And the photographs may be up to 40 by 40 inches in size. Of course, there is a size limit and a weight limit because all of the images are held on the wall using only Velcro on the flat back that you submit. We have a weight limitation of no more than 7 pounds. So be sure that you do weigh the images beforehand to make sure you're well below that. Starting last year, we added a category of Through the Eyes of Youth. There used to be Kids Best, which children could enter of all ages up to age 17 of their independent work. But that went away after the pandemic. So this is for youth between the ages of 13 and 17. We have 2 classes for them. People and animals, which I kind of describe as things with a face. It could be portraits, it could be street photography, it could be zoo animals, it could be safari animals, it could be animals out in the wild, or people out in the wild. And then the other class for youth is nature and environment. So it could be cityscapes, architecture, or things taken out in nature or the wild. So what's new this year? Our fair theme is always new. The Once Upon a Fair about storytelling, the return of our best friend. The brand new classes of celebrations, Spirit of America and Spirit of California. Just a reminder that thumbnails are required for digital photographic art. And if you have a young person between the ages of 13 to 17 that practices photography, they can enter Through the Eyes of Youth. When you enter your photographs, for Tier 1 judging, the horizontal limit should be 1800 pixels or about 6 megs. If the file is too big, they won't upload properly. A reminder that no names or watermarks are to be on the photographs, nor should they be in the title or in the description of the pictures when you enter. Except for large prints, the finished dimensions of the ready-to-hang prints that are delivered must be exactly 16 by 20. Please, please, please do measure the prints when you get them from the printer to make sure that they are exactly that size, because that is the size of the template that we have. Please don't open up the box when you get into the gallery to deliver. Because we're using Velcro to put the prints on the wall, we do not allow float mounts because that reduces the amount of space we have to put Velcro on the back. There is a weight limit. And artificially generated work, we're using word prompts, is not allowed. And we have had many times where the judges ask for files of the raw files of the photographs to verify that it is your work. Our entry deadline is Tuesday, April 7th at 8 o'clock. So be sure to enter before that. And you can enter by going to sdfair.com/entry and save your email confirmation. So if you have any questions, we can refer back to it. So first thing you'll want to do is you'll go to sdfair.com and read our entry materials and read the instructions very, very carefully. So every person does need their own account. If you have a youth that's going to be entering, the youth needs to have their own account. Please don't enter under the name of the parent. Look at all the categories and their descriptions, and then figure out which of your images would fit in each category. Now, sometimes there may be a picture that you want to enter and it does not fit squarely in a category. Your options are to consider entering it in the large print category, which does not have a special genre, or if it's a cell phone picture, you can enter that in smartphone, which also does not have a specific genre other than that must be taken with a cell phone or smartphone. So enter online and pay the entry fees. Of course, no names and watermarks on the images or description or the title. Make sure that the file size is appropriate and save that email confirmation. So after Tier 1 judging, if the judges select your images to advance to Tier 2, you will be emailed delivery instructions and printing instructions. If you don't see that email, then you might want to check your spam folders and your junk folder to see whether it goes there. So a lot of times it will go automatically, depending on how you have your email set up, to the spam folders or junk folders. Then you'll decide and prepare your images for delivery, and you'll have to decide what type of paper you want to print it on. You can print and mount your entries for Tier 2 judging, or you can have somebody do it. And the day after the notifications, you can ship your ready-to-hang images to the fairgrounds, or you deliver it to us on the 2 delivery days. The Tuesday after the fair closes is when you can pick up your entries, or you can have a friend pick it up, or you can arrange for a prepaid shipping, label, and box. So your prints can be sent back to you. So one of the most difficult things to do for photographers is to decide what pictures you're going to be submitting. So most of the pictures that we take are memory pictures or things that are important to us. It could be your food, it could be your kids, it could be your grandkids. But when you enter a competition, the judges and the public are not going to have that emotional connection that you experienced when you took the photograph. So you need to kind of try to separate out your emotions from what would be a personal image as to what would be appropriate for a show image to be shown in a gallery. So when someone looks at your picture, they're going to be looking for something that will make it stand out from others. And just think of a time when you looked at a photo or an art piece and you thought, wow, that's really an amazing picture. That's amazing painting. That's because there was some kind of impact. And when you looked at that image, you could tell exactly what you were supposed to look at and what the focal point is. The photo or the painting is well composed with proper lighting, and everything is properly exposed with color as it should be. Is the person green because they were not feeling well? Or do you need to kind of adjust the tone of the color tone of the picture to make it better, to make it look more accurate? And is what's in focus actually what they're supposed to be looking at? And are the elements that are supposed to be sharp actually sharp? Oh, we're done.
Oops. Interesting. I'm not hearing anything.
I think she's rushing to get her notebook plugged in, as I saw a quick notice about a low battery.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, let me bring my portrait back on screen here. Okay, so we heard of
Would
there
you
she
like me to
is.
show you? Would you like me to show you stupid magic tricks while we're waiting?
We love magic tricks. Let's see. She should be jumping back in. Oh, I guess she's got to plug her laptop in. Gosh.
Lois touched on something very lightly, and last year especially, it was really, really painful, for lack of a better word. So both competing and judging, when you get the notice that you've been entered, it's a moment of extreme excitement that you are going to be featured. But then you go, oh my God, I have to have this printed and mounted. And the number of photographs last year that came up for additional discussion because there were bubbles in the mounting or there were waves in the prints. this is not an area to be taken lightly because it can be an amazing capture, but that is reason alone for a possible photograph to be disqualified. John, what would you suggest for people to look at or consider in engaging their photographs to make sure that they're going to pass that test?
If I'm not taking
And John, would you also introduce what you do professionally?
as little as possible. No, I'm a post-processing specialist for photographers, light jet, digital prints, and finishing, and Photoshop instruction services, color management, all sorts of fun stuff. Here's the thing. Of all the things that we as judges can actually disqualify a print for, we cannot disqualify it necessarily for subjective reasons, generally speaking. In order for a print to be disqualified, all three judges, there's usually three judges judging a particular image, have to agree. And the only legitimate reason to kick one out is like what Dwayne is saying, is for bad mounting, we've seen, I know Stephen and I can relate, and Lois, anybody, Greg too, we've seen prints that had made it through that had a footprint on it. Okay, on the outside of the mat. You know, make sure if you've got a physical mat, make sure it's clean, not bent corners. That's the kind of stuff when you get right down to it. Oh,
that's
Lois.
Lois.
That my doorbell?
That is Lois.
I am so
Okay.
sorry, guys. I thought I had my plug plugged in, and I didn't have it plugged in.
Well, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, I got it. Let me get back into my file.
To be continued, Dwayne.
Absolutely.
I am so sorry, guys.
Well, we were telling jokes about you while you were gone.
Thanks,
So-
guys. I appreciate it so much.
Hey, give us a chance to get a word in edgewise.
Oh my goodness.
I think I may have just uninvited
So
myself.
first time for everything, right?
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm just queuing everything up first, so.
Okay.
While Lois is doing that, I'll chime in on the presentation thing. Presentation is everything. When you get down to the print, the little details, nothing in that frame or the mat or the material that you use should be taking away from that image. So making sure those outer edges are clean, making sure if you're using a mat that the inside edges of the mat are super crisp and clean and square, professionally cut. We've seen things that look like they were cut with a kitchen knife. And not so much in recent years, but they come through every once in a while where somebody cuts their own mat, and it'll take a great picture and then pull our eyes in, out of the picture into the presentation.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for creating the image in camera and then being able to create that all the way through to the final product. So when you actually want to try and learn how to mat yourself, if it's your first time, have somebody else review it and then compare it by taking it out and maybe having another copy matted through a professional matting company. That way you have an option.
And Dwayne brings up a great point. You can show your print to Aunt Matilda; she's going to love it. But show it to somebody who's going to say, "No, it needs some work," or "That looks great." If you're not a member of a camera club, I mean, not only are you going to make great friendships, but the wisdom and knowledge that comes from these camera clubs is just amazing. So anyway, I'll shut up now.
And go to community galleries too, and just go purely to look at presentation,
Right.
And think about what is in there that
Right.
people are doing that works really well and what doesn't in terms of, do you mat your piece? Do you do it full bleed off the edges? What kind of work works for that? What kind of resolution works for going full bleed? Keeping in mind that a full bleed image, if it falls off the wall, it will get scratched. Whereas if you have a matte cut and some separation of the image from the face of it, you protect the image itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's an important consideration too.
And
Wow,
what
you guys don't need me. You know everything.
No, actually, well, you
Seriously.
must apologize because Dwayne asked a really good question about presentation, which everybody's been kind of talking about. That's the only reason we really weren't telling jokes about you. I just want you to know.
No,
But,
it's okay. I deserve everything.
Anyway, so
All right.
let's
Is the slideshow up again?
no, not yet. Go ahead and share your screen.
not yet.
You should be able to share.
Okay, let me share.
There we
There
are.
we go.
Okay. Back in business, guys. Thanks for
Now-
your patience.
We're now back to the featured presentation.
All right. So issues that we do see during the judging process, tier 1s and tier 2, is if the picture doesn't have some kind of a wow factor and it's not clear what the judges are supposed to look at. If you have bright areas, are they overexposed so that there's no detail? And if you have dark areas, in the shadows, are you able to see some kind of detail? Because typically that's important. Just judges are looking for that. If you're processing in Lightroom or in Photoshop or any other software, the sliders go both ways. So just because you can bring something up to 100% in saturation or in contrast does not mean that you should do so. So bring it back down a little bit and kind of check as to whether certain colors that you have on your screen exist in nature, or if that's actually the way that it should look. And if you oversaturate some colors, it can actually make your pictures blotchy and you can lose detail. And printers won't be able to necessarily print everything that you see on screen. If it's a landscape picture or a horizon picture, unless you are purposely trying to make a photograph that has a Dutch angle, take a few seconds to straighten out your horizon lines. Because just a few degrees off can give people kind of like an uneasy, kind of dizzy feeling that there's something not quite right with the photograph. If you have sensors that have spots on them, those will show up in your image, or dust on your lenses, or lenses that are dirty. Do zoom in on your pictures to make sure that you get rid of those sensor spots and dust spots before you print. It's so disheartening when you take all this time to get your camera gear out, set up your gear, take a picture, wait for the right moment at the right time. You go home and the picture looks okay, but when you print it, there's nothing worse than finding out that you have spots all over the picture. So take some time to check for that before you print. So the late David King, who was a commercial photographer and the head of the photography department at City College, used to say that more information is not always better in a picture. If you crop a picture, or there could be multiple elements in one photograph, consider making the photograph tighter so you can tell better stories. Sometimes if you have too much information, you may have 3 better pictures inside of the one big picture. And by cropping it tighter, you can tell that story better and make it more clear as to what story you're trying to tell. John, did you have a comment?
Yeah, that was one of Davism. We call them Davisms, and it was like, we as judges know there's an image in there somewhere, but it's not up to us to find it, which is really a very Dave way of saying what Lois is talking about. So that's all.
Okay. If you have something in the photograph, unless it's photojournalism, and it's taking your eye away from what the story that you're trying to tell, go ahead and tone down the colors of that one or the brightness, or you can clone that out so that it becomes more apparent what items you want the viewer to look at. The other thing to pay attention to is if you have something that's leading your eye outside of the photograph, consider cropping that out or toning that down also. So that's something that we call border control in the photography business. If you decide to print a picture, make sure that your file size will support the size that you want to print. So a small resolution file will not print well as a 16 by 20 or a large print up to 40 by 40. So take a look at your file size and see whether it will support the size that you want to print. We had somebody print a photograph one year in color photographs in all other plants and trees. It was a bonsai plant against a blue sky. I still remember it. And instead of printing it at 16 by 20, he made it like a 5 by 7 or an 8 by 10. And I asked the photographer why he decided to print it smaller. And he said that the photograph was not as sharp as he would have liked. And it would not have stood up to making a large print. So he made it a smaller print. And it did have impact. And the judges agreed because they awarded it a first place ribbon. So larger is not always better. And because we do have a gallery, it's an art gallery, but of photographs, the quality of your printing and the mounting and its presentation does matter. So take some time to make sure that it looks nice. So when you enter, the photographs that you enter are going to be judged during tier 1 on calibrated computer monitors. So these are the settings. You'll be looking at 6,000 degrees Kelvin, luminance of 110, and a gamma of 2.2. So as you start processing and regularly recalibrate your computer monitors to match. So pictures will look different depending on whichever substrate you have them printed on. I always recommend, and I have done in the past, use the same photograph and had it printed on 5, 10, 15 different photo papers, just to kind of see what they look like when they're printed. If you don't like the way it looks, reprocess the images. Get feedback from the photography community. Now, I don't mean ask your grandma whether that's a good picture or not. Go to somebody that doesn't love everything that you do. Be part of a photo club. I mean, this is a photo club, San Diego Photoshop Users Group. Get feedback from other photographers, but also instructors, other judges. Reprocess those images until you get what you need or to make it a better and stronger photo. And then make new test prints. And keep doing it until you have something that you like and you can see what type of photo substrates and papers work best for your images. So when you print, you can do it on any type of substrate so long as it is not a danger to our photo crew and the public. You can print on metal or acrylic. Do be mindful of the weight. Canvas is fine, but sometimes canvas pictures can come out kind of muddy and not have the detail that you might want of a photograph. Please don't print on glass. Somebody did that one year and the edges were quite sharp. And we, while wearing white gloves, several pairs of them, would still get the gloves cut. If you do enter metal prints, be sure that they have rounded corners. If you bring in anything with a sharp corner, we will hand you some sandpaper and you can go out in the lobby and sand down the round corners so that they're not of danger to anybody anymore. Float mounts are not allowed simply because We affix Velcro to the back of all of the images, and float mounts while setting the photos away from the wall will give us a very small footprint to put Velcro. So it's not as securely adhered to the walls. Except for large prints, the finished dimensions of all ready-to-hang entries delivered must be exactly 16 by 20. Yes, we do measure. And if it's not the right size, please don't argue with me and say that it's close enough. It must be exactly 16 by 20. And the only other exception to the 16 by 20 are images that are entered specifically in large prints. And they can be panoramic prints. And in our entry materials to say that they must be greater than 2:1 or 3:1. And the limitation on that is 40 by 40. If you decide to use a front mat, it must be pure black or pure white only. So pure white means it's paper white, not snow white, which is blue, not ivory, which is yellow. The front mats, if you use it, may have a black core or a white core. We do not allow any color mats or mount boards, and you can only use one mat. With your acceptance email, you will get a digital tag with a thumbnail of your accepted image for delivery, and you should place that on the back of the picture in the orientation that your photograph should hang. And of course, no names, signatures, or watermarks on the front of the image or on the mat, because we do have a completely blind judging. So if you decide to do the mount on your own, these are the supplies that you'll need. You'll need a window mat with an exterior dimension of exactly 16 by 20. We'll need some kind of a backing board or a mounting board. It could be another mat, plain black or plain white, or you can use foam core, which also works, and you would have to trim it down with a sharp razor. Artist tape, linen tape, or photo mounting tape would be used to place the picture inside, and double stick tape. And the double stick tape is used to adhere the front mat onto the backboard. Please don't use masking tape or transparent tape because they don't hold very tightly. And photo corners only work inside of frames, which we do not use. We have changing humidity and temperatures in the room. So your photograph is going to expand and contract behind that front mat. And if you have photo corners, when your photo and the paper expand, it's gonna pop off the front mat and the front mat will come off and we'll find it on the floor. Also, because of the changing humidity and temperatures in the room, the use of spray glue to mount your prints can cause bubbling of your prints. We have this in the entry material also. These are directions on how to mount your photograph with the front window mat and the mount board. So you can go back to the entry materials at stfair.com. And then these are the directions, which we have also in the entry materials, how to do the mounting inwards. So we have some photographs here of presentations that did not work. On the left, we have someone that used masking tape to put their photo together, and that's not permanent and tight. So when you do the presentation, we ask that you put the photograph on the backboard. And the reason being is that if your front mat comes off and you have taped your photograph to the front mat, your photograph will fall to the floor also. And that's depicted on the right picture. Please be sure to use a sharp blade when you cut your mat, because when you don't, you will have rough edges along the edge of your mat or in the mat opening. So here they used a dull blade which does not look very nice. And judges do judge based on presentation. So this is an art show. There was a mounting board that was not properly square, and so we got weird edges showing. And we had some sort of a knife slip or unclean edge here also for the mat. So this image was delivered without a front mat, which perhaps might be okay, but the challenge here was that the photograph was mounted to the back mount board and it was not square. We have a couple issues with this one. One is that it's not a single mat. This was double matted, which would cause it to be disqualified. And the mat was ivory, not a plain white. So I know if they only use the front mat or just the black mat, it would be fine. But note that some mats, such as this one also, can weigh a lot. And if you don't have enough double stick tape to adhere that front mat board to the back board, a heavy mat will fall off the wall also. There was a knife slip along the bottom edge, and so the presentation is not square, and the print was not square with the face mat. So they showed some empty space between the photograph and the back mat here. I remember when this print came into our gallery and during tier 2 judging, the judges asked me whether this could be cleaned. Somebody had delivered their image, and at some point before they delivered it to us, they stepped on the front mat with the bottom with the shoe, and we could see the waffle pattern of the bottom of the shoe on the mat. Judges asked if we could clean this off, and we couldn't. And because we couldn't, the judges disqualified this. This is an example of the photo corners that someone used, and when the picture expanded, it popped off the front picture, and there was double stick tape, but it wasn't very much. So please don't use the photo corners, and when you put the front mat on, do use a lot of double stick tape. Presentation was dropped at some point, and it damaged the corner. There's some double stick tape here, but there were bubbles in it. And try to smooth out the tape as best as you can before you put that front mat on, and that gives us better adhesion. The photographer had an acrylic print and did not want to reprint. So what he or she did was gaffers taped it onto a front mat that was 16 by 20, and then used double stick tape to put a float mount on the back of the image. Well, double stick tape doesn't have enough holding power to hold the weight of an acrylic print on it. So the entire presentation came apart. And this is another reason why we don't allow float mounts. So we'll give you a few pictures of what it's like behind the scenes as we build the photo show. In this photograph, we show the judges during Tier 1 judging. They're placed in teams of 3 according to their specialties. These are the things that judges are looking for. I'm sure you'll hear more of that from the judges as we go into the image review and critique. They're looking for that wow factor, some impact, and whether it's put together well. Is the technical quality good? Did you do something different? So occasionally, photographers will enter photographs in a category, but the judges may think that a photograph will do better in a different category. So on the left here, the judges in the front have come across such a picture. So they've pulled the judges from the potential new category to come and look at the image on the computer screen to find out whether the new judges in the new category are willing to accept the photograph in that new category. We had a photograph that was entered in sports. It was of a young man, and he was being hugged by his parents. It was a very emotional picture. And the judges that were judging this category did not see, they couldn't figure out what sport it was. And they had pulled the documentary judges over to take a look at the photograph to see whether they would accept the image. The judges did accept it, went into the new category, and the night of the artist reception, the photographer and the people in the photograph came into the gallery and couldn't find their picture in sports. They came up to me and asked about what happened to their photograph. And when they described it to me, I brought it over to the new category. In that new category, it won a blue ribbon. So just because you see a picture as being one thing doesn't mean that the judges may not see it a different way and that it may do better in a new category. This is what the gallery looks like when we first take receipt of it, and everything that we use to build the competition and the exhibit is in here. This is a picture of when people deliver all of their images. So you check in and we check the size to make sure it's exactly 16 by 20. And anytime we handle your prints, we wear white gloves so that we can protect your images. During Tier 2 judging, we have photo handlers that handle the pictures. Everyone, again, is wearing white gloves. The judges may ask for the name, the description of the picture. They may ask the photo handlers to move the pictures closer or further away or tilt them down so they don't get the glare of the room. On the left here, we have judges that are trying to decide on how the pictures should be, what should be at first place, second place, third place, fourth place, and honorable mentions. So the judges will have the print handlers make 3 piles. It will be yes, definitely, accept, and hang in the gallery. No, we do not want to hang that in the gallery. Or 3, if it's a contender for a ribbon, which would be the first, second, third, fourth, or an honorable mention. After all the categories are judged, the first place winners are put on tables. The judges walk around the tables, and each is given 1 card to place on the picture that they think is most deserving of being best in show. The photographs with very few cards are taken off the table, and then the judges walk around and do the same thing again with the card. We have had best in shows selected after anywhere from 3 rounds of voting to 13 rounds of voting. And the year that it went 13 rounds, the separation of votes from first place to the runner-up was 1 vote. And that year, interestingly enough, the public selected the runner-up to be the to be the People's Choice Award. These are photographs of our print handlers and our judges from the last 2 years. And after the judging, we put Velcro on all 1,200 pictures that are moving on to be in the photo exhibit. And the right is what the gallery looks like when we open up. So these are very important dates for this year. Entry deadline is before 8 o'clock on April 7th. That's a Tuesday. Notification as to whether you should bring in your prints is going to be on tax day, April 15th. And shipped entries may arrive the day after, all the way up through May 12th. In-person print delivery will be on May 11th and 12th between noon and 7. And the artist reception is going to be the first night of the fair. Now do note that if you come to the fair that opening day, we will not be placing first through fourth place ribbons until that evening after the artist reception. And entry pickup will be the Tuesday after the fair closes between noon and 7. If you're unable to pick up in person, you can have a friend pick up Just give them your claim slip, or you can give us a box with prepaid shipping for us to send it back to you. Again, the artist reception is going to be the first day of the fair. And these are important dates as far as educational opportunities. We're one of the only venues, the only fairs and exhibits that allows the public to have access with our judges. So we have the Judges Roundtable on June 13th. And then the next weekend, we have the Judges Critique on June 20th. We have Photo Club Day so that you can meet people from other photo clubs and decide which ones you want to participate in. We have 2 competitions during the fair, the photo shootouts. They're going to be on Sunday, June 21st, which is Father's Day, and then the week after on Sunday, June 28th. And with the price of admission, you get 1 ticket at roll call for that day. You can take pictures at the fair, come and eat the food at the appointed time, show up in our photo gallery. We'll tell you what the fair theme is for that photo shootout, and you will go out and shoot for that theme for about an hour and a half. Come back with the 1 picture that you want to enter. It could be a cell phone picture or a big camera picture within in-camera processing, and we'll have live judging and ribbons. And then we don't know who we're going to invite yet, but one of our last panels is going to be our tips from photographers. But it's always photographers that have a lot of success at the fair. Some of them could be first-time entrants, others could be more seasoned entrants. And we have workshops pretty much every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the Veranda Cafe. We haven't finalized the presentation schedule yet, but we're going to have workshops. And last year we had Eric Joseph, and he's going to be coming back again this time. And we always enjoy having hands-on presentations also. And I think up here we have we had cyanotypes and also Polaroid emotion lift last year also, and critiques. If you are not going to enter this year, but you still want to be part of the fair, we have opportunities for you to consider joining the photo crew and work with us. So the photo crew commitment is from May 4th through July 8th, and you can help us build the show. Or if you're not going to enter, you can be a volunteer and help us during print delivery or print pickup. And it's really a great way to learn about photography if you're part of the photo crew. And I think it's really fun to be able to see the best 1,200 pictures every single year in the gallery, every single day as part of the photo crew. If you don't follow us already, you can follow us on our Facebook page, which we're more active on. So here's the QR code. It's SD Fair Photo Coordinators. So that's our Facebook page, SD Fair Photo Coordinators.
We can leave that up there just a little bit for everybody to kind of take a picture of it.
Okay. Everybody got that? All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to exit this screen, and then we'll bring up the slideshow of the winners from last year. And I apologize in advance. I do have sound, but I don't think you can hear it. So I'm going to go ahead and start it. All right, guys, that's a wrap.
Oh, that's fantastic. Lois, you are wonderful as usual. Well, this is the time where we are going to take a 15-minute break. And when we come back, we're going to have the judges live. I've some submissions of people who submitted at least 2 of their images that they're going to do. They're going to talk about, do a little critique. They're going to kind of talk about how they would judge as judges at the International Photography Exhibition here in San Diego. So, Lois, thank you. You're wonderful. And let's take a little bit of a break and come back. And in 15, so I'm going to bring up our little 15-minute timer and maximize it. So let's do snack break, bathroom break, stretch your legs, whatever you want to do. And we'll be back.
projects he's working on that he's not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, so I can't talk about that. No, no. It's one of them will be announced next month at Sony will talk about it more in detail next month. I'll say that much.
Cool.
So that's one of them. Currently, I'm been teaching at Cuyamaca College for the digital illustration and web animation for them now.
So how's the teaching going on at Cuyamaca College?
It's great, man. I mean, like my semester with the students for digital illustration was all in person, so I was at campus teaching students, and I brought everything I had for those students, so they had to learn how to make an IP. That's what I based the whole course around, and so I taught them how to do illustration, everything in digital. So everything was done in Photoshop, anything from character design, turnarounds, matte painting, photo bashing, storyboarding, all of it. I was teaching them for 16 weeks straight how to basically create your own IP. So they created their own character, their own storyline, made their own ads and posters and banners, and so they went off, and I was super proud of all of them. So now some of those same students carried over to my web animation setup now, and that one's 100% online, so I don't have to be in at school or on campus for that one, but I get to they still get all the same curriculum that I would do. I'm just recording videos weekly for them and making sure that I'm grading and available for Zoom calls throughout the week for them, and so it's different, but I definitely enjoy that whole process. So if any of you guys are interested in teaching it, please let me know.
So, yes, and have to ask, is there a week where you actually take that animation and say run it through Lychee or one of the others so it could actually be turned into a 3D print? Because I think Stephen would love to hear about that.
If there is a way where I'm able to integrate that too, because that's one of the things that I know I've personally talked about is trying to get 3D printing integrated.
Well, bring me in as a guest speaker.
Yeah, let me reach out to the coordinator over there and then have you come out. That would be really cool.
Love to do that. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean that's another area where these students don't have the same access. Like the only school that I really saw them doing that was surprisingly National University.
Yeah,
where they do have 3D printing. So the students I worked with the Biology Through Art organization at National University, and they do have like one of the things that they have the students do. They have to actually do a 3D print. So they have to do 3D modeling and make their own organism or creature and as a printable 3D model. So I was like, no way.
I don't know what I want to.
This is exciting.
They look at it.
I mean, my whole career has gone toward 3D printing now. So I've been doing big projects for people, all over the country. So it's
is
fun.
that something you would want to teach, like
absolutely,
on a college level?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's connect me up.
Yep.
Let's connect me up. You have my information. Let's get that done this week.
Okay.
All right. So
Stephen.
Yes, sir.
So Stephen, can you 3D print auto parts? I'm just kind of curious.
Yes, I can 3D. Well, yeah, but I'm 3D printing. I'm 3D printing plastic stuff.
I know. I'm just
stuff.
Kidding you. I'm just funny.
Hey, John, they actually come with a lifetime warranty. The life of the part.
There you go.
Absolutely. So cool. Is Greg here? Is Greg back? Greg's portrait, his camera's not on and his microphone is muted. So he's probably still away. Lois is back.
Still away.
Lois has popped in. Greg is still gone. All right. So this is the portion where we bring on the judges. And I have, actually, let me open up a bridge real quick. And I have some submissions. Now, by the way, for those who are on Twitch, who are watching this broadcast, I'm going to post this up again. So this is where you're going to send your images to me. If you have not done so yet, send it to my steve@criminolution.com. It's being displayed now on the Twitch screen. So you guys, judges can't see it, but you guys online can see it. send that to me.
We're like umpires. We only see what we want to see. In baseball.
I can't
That's
count
right.
the number of times I've heard from the audience, that judge can't see it.
That's right.
That's right. The judge just can't see anything. Oh, trust me. Okay, I'm gonna bring up Bridge, and where's Bridge here? I'm having no problems today. Come on. Let's go to Adobe Bridge. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna bring up Bridge, and we are going to go to SD Pug. I'm on my desktop. Cool. And I don't know the judges. Let's see. You guys probably can't. Let me see if I share my screen. No, I can't really share my screen. I'm going to have to share my screen. All right. So this is what we're going to have.
You should be able to share just the window, Steve.
Yeah, I've got to do something different because I've got StreamYard streaming and I've got Zoom streaming. So what I'm going to have to do, hold on, give me a hot second. I'm there already. Okay, cool. I'm going to share for you guys to see this. So it should not affect the Twitch people. It should not affect the Twitch people. So let's I'm going to share that screen here for you guys. Okay. Interesting.
Ooh, we have access to all of Steven's top secret files.
Yeah, so that's okay. So then that's there. So that means I should be able to move this over here. Oh, good. It does work that way. Okay, good. I'm good. All right. So Zoom has automatically started sharing the screen that I wanted to share. All right, now I've got about several submissions here.
Steve, you never have enough tabs open in Safari.
I'm always playing around on the internet, so I got tons of tabs open. It's a weird thing. It's like being a creative. We like that cluttered, messy space.
Says you.
Well,
Yeah, and I'm having fits of PSTD right now.
I mean, I've never met an artist that doesn't have a messy space. And I have a theory as to why that is. I had a friend of mine in photography. I went to photography school at Palomar College, and my friend at the time, a fellow photographer, Ping Na Yoon, Chinese guy, always had everything organized, nice and neat in his folders, photographs, negatives were perfect. And it's like, but his stuff was pristine. It was he produces great work. It's like, how could everything's organized, it's neat. How could he be an artist? Then he allowed me to come to his house one day, and I went back in his bedroom, and it was trashed. Okay, he's an artist. Okay, cool. So we are going to start. We're going to start in kind of alphabetical order here. Aaron Houston's first. So we've got about a total of about 6 submissions. We should get more than 9 submissions every time we do these things. People are shy. They're really shy about submitting their work. But if anybody is interested, send your work and then let me know in the chat box. Let's see. Someone just said they just sent theirs now. So let me go get yours right now. Real fast. Let me go check. Give me a hot minute. And I'm going to check right now. There it is. Deborah Jones. Found you. Okay. I'm going to save all attachments. We are going to make a folder for Deborah Jones. You might see it pop up in Bridge. Deborah, let's see. I probably misspelled that there, but
no, it's a creative.
You know what I mean. That's right. I've seen different ways how Deborah spells. So, oops. Oh, a minute. That's not how I meant to spell it. That was a typo.
That's a very artistic way of spelling it.
Okay. All right. So there. Okay, cool. Let me make sure she's in there. Yep, everything's there. Okay,
Just
great.
because Steven hasn't muted me. If you're thinking about submitting, if you're thinking, submit it now. It's the best way to learn.
Please do. All right, Aaron
Oh,
Hughes.
you guys quit picking on him.
Oh, this is normal. I get this all the time. That means they care. Now Aaron submitted 3, so I'm gonna. All right, so let's kind of move things out of the way here. All right, this is Aaron Houston, Angels Ladies.
So we see your email here on my screen anyway.
Yeah, I got email too.
You got email. Oh, whoa.
It's very nice email though.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty
Steve, I'm a little
organized.
concerned about what you have going on every
Hold
Sunday
on.
A
morning.
little too busy, Steve. You need to get some of that extra noise out of there. Focus in. There we go.
Okay, wait a minute. That's odd because I told it to share. I mean, stop to share for you. All right.
That was a headline.
Gosh, this is gonna be one of those days.
I think
All right.
Diana Ross and Supremes did that song. Stop the share for you.
Okay, let me find out where. Okay, so this is. Oh, I see.
My only defense is Steve invited
Oh,
us.
I see.
Yes.
The share for you.
All right, so
Thank you,
this
Dan.
is it. Okay, do you see it now?
Hurry up, Stephen.
Okay, do you guys see it now?
Oh, yes.
Angels Ladies. Okay,
Absolutely.
perfect. Okay. All right. Angels Ladies by Aaron Houston.
May I say that this has a really strong wow factor?
Good.
It
Okay.
captures your attention right away. I'll let everybody else say something.
I'm wondering what category this would fit in.
That's just what I was thinking.
And I think,
Well,
go ahead.
could go in that. I mean, it could go in landscape. I don't know. I mean, there's.
Could be landscape, it could be documentary.
Isn't there a category called Other?
Large print.
Do you know how large that category would be?
What's the landscape? It's not the landscape category. It's not seasonal. The
Non-seasonal,
non-seasonal one.
timeless.
Timeless. That's
Timeless, and that timeless
Although-
would be good.
I was going to say that has a lot of timeless aspect, a lot of aspects of time in it. So, you know,
It's
Justin,
really
what are your
dramatic.
thoughts about the clouds? Because you have a tinge of blue on the right side, but the left side looks like it's been selective.
Meaning,
perhaps
what-
the
what do you mean by
photographer
selective?
could do a little better job on the mask on the right-hand side.
on the right hand side.
I didn't even notice that until you said something.
What are you noticing?
And judges, what are your thoughts regarding color splash? Because this kind of leans toward color splash. What are your thoughts about that?
What do you mean by that?
Selective color and
Oh.
everything else black and white.
Yeah, I think that the background on this is muted on its own. I don't think it was, made monochrome and then done the selective color splash. Maybe enhanced a little bit, but not, just for that purpose.
I'm going to touch on maybe three points as I go through. I try to judge everything according to the 12 elements of a mirrored image. So when this comes up, it's got great impact. The color differences between the grays and lightish browns on the left, contrasting with the yellows in the sign, really cool. It's got cool storytelling because it's showing two different periods at the same time. We've got Angels Ladies, what used to be a very prominent brothel, now closed, condemned. So it's withering away. That's kind of cool in where it's telling that story.
Mm-hmm.
The composition becomes a little bit confusing with some of the questions coming up. So we've got color differences in the clouds, but I'm not sure if those are technical issues or if that is because of how the clouds are actually breaking up. Because when you look at that sign over the right-hand corner, we've got blue sky poking through. So that could be part of what the color difference is. I'm not so sure as we fall to the bottom right, just above the horizon line where the coloring is following bluish purple. And in the end, I'm really not sure what it is the maker wants me to look at. Not knowing what category as that question came about. Is this all about the sign? Is this a story of the time going on? I would be willing to merit this in round one, the beginning of round one judging. But when it's going to come back at the end of that judging, and we're going to compare it against other photographs that may have a stronger story to pick the top 3 or 4 winners. Those are my comments on where I would be with this.
What would you suggest that the photographer could do with the existing image to help with that? First of all, perhaps shift the sign less to the right, more of a rule of thirds thing, perhaps?
Bring it into rule of thirds. Vignette.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Corner.
Yeah.
Maybe vignette the bottom corners because that house or that building in the lower left that is bright white is pulling you away from the sign.
Or it could be cropped out if you shift everything to the right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I
You
agree
can
with
take it full black and white if you want it to be truly timeless.
So what are your thoughts? Does it seem a little crowded to you on the right? Because it seems a little crowded to me on the right.
That's what John was just commenting on. The sign is pushing that right-hand border to the point of being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of Dwayne's comments. And the composition there, it is too close to the right edge. I like the overall impact of it, the difference between the color, bright color impact and then the muted background. It doesn't look like there's masking problems to me in the background, at least that it seems like the foreground land is a little over sharpened, and then that sort of emphasizes those buildings a little bit much. So again, that cropping, if you had cropped off the left and left a little more breathing room on the right, that I think might have helped the overall composition. But it's impactful for me. As far as category, I think the way that when I'm looking at a category, I'm not usually looking at whether the image fits into the category unless it's completely obvious that it's not going to. So at first look, I would accept it in a landscape. I mean, it kind of looks cold and wintry, or it could be springy, or it could be timeless. I think timeless would be better, but I'm not usually one to kick something out for not being exactly in the category. I wouldn't give this a prize, probably, but it does have impact. It does have a point of focus. It does have a decent composition, but really could be stronger. And maybe it feels a little oversaturated in some ways, but that also helps add to the impact. So and the bottom edge, there's some of the little light bushes down at the bottom edge, and in the detail in the foreground, which kind of pulls me out of the sign, which is really the main subject.
Okay, so this would be a go for tier 1 with those comments implemented.
Yeah, that's hard to say until you saw what else is in the category. But if it was me before it even hit tier 1, if it's me, I would change the composition, number 1, and then the other stuff is just kind of what if once you change that composition, because the composition, as everybody's pointed out, so far is the weakest point of the image.
Okay.
It's very rarely ever talked about, and this has nothing to do with this particular image. When we talk about impact, I always find that there's 2 types of impact. There's the initial impact, which is the oh wow when a photograph comes up. But when you're entering a competition, especially one like this, and you've looked at now 50, 70, 200 prints in a category, it's the photographs that carry lasting impact that end up making it to the top. Those are the ones that end up with your first, second, and third place. So if I was to apply that to this, I think this photograph has great initial impact, but I don't think it's going to carry through with lasting impact after we've seen other photographs, regardless of category.
Okay.
Agreed.
Look at the next one. Let's go back. Let's activate this.
It looks just like the last. Oh.
I would assume this would probably fit inside winter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Almost wish we could see a little bit more sky within this image, so those tops of those peaks don't get cropped so hard.
I would personally be hard pressed to allow this to go past first round. And the primary reason for that is it's the time of day. This looks like it was shot at about 11 o'clock. If you're in a area of the world that's full daylight, this is almost high noon. And so when you look at the shadows, there is no shadow transition. We've got hard edges on every shadow. We've either got hard, crisp lights throughout our glacier. Then we move into the mountains, and you're actually trying to duck. It's uncomfortable because there's not enough sky. Judging the position in which it's photographed, I am willing to bet that this may have been done using an extended lens, probably from a cruise ship. And that's because of the angle shooting down into the water. If we're not on a cruise ship, then we're across the bay from another higher perspective. In either case, I understand why it was taken, because if you're on a cruise ship, you're not going to be there for the best time of day, which is either going to be late evening, early morning, where you get the shadow transitions. That's where I would be with this.
Good.
Can you talk a little bit more about the time of day of the making of a photograph?
Certainly. Time of day, and I'm using the term as if we're based in San Diego. Time of day, when you are photographing from early sunrise to about 10 o'clock or so. As the sun's coming up, the contrast between daylight and darkness becomes more and more as you get later into the day, and that creates what's called shadow transition. Shadow transition allows you to hide, bring out more and more character details. It allows you to see more detail throughout your entire subject. It adds shape. It adds a little bit of contrast to it. When there's hard shadows, normally from 10:30, 11 o'clock till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you get these hard lines. You have bright whites that are bright all the way through. And for example, as you're looking at this glacier, there's not a part of this glacier that is flat in reality, but the lighting is so hard, we are losing 70, 80% of the detail that's actually there. We can see a little bit of crispiness, but it's implied versus seen. It's almost like photographing, so you're basically using a very small edge of a light. It makes photographs crunchy, hard, and takes away the soft, warm feel that we want to see inside of the final image. That's the way I generally try to describe it.
So no crunchies.
Oh, the immediate thing that catches my eye that is interesting about this is the glacier over at the left side, the left 2/3, just the glacier and a little bit of the water. There's some interesting texture and detail because what Dwayne was talking about is like the whole right third is very flat. There's nothing interesting in there. It doesn't contribute anything to the image. And the problem of being, there isn't a lot of detail. There isn't the drama of the light. Some of the drama could be brought out in the processing to make that landscape a little bit more interesting. But that because the mountains up at the top there's no sky, it just feels really tight up there, and that's a distraction. So I don't know that there could be much done with this, but what I find interesting is the left 2/3 of the glacier and none of the mountains, and very little in the water that is interesting to me. So that goes kind of back to the David King comment, where's the picture? And I don't know that there's enough quality here to really to spend a lot of time on it, but you might find some improvements cropping in on something more detailed and interesting.
Well, to tie on to what Greg said, which is perfect, which is to crop in on that area, which is really interesting. You got some post-processing errors here that are just, they're driving me crazy as somebody who does this for a living. And we see this a lot of times in the printing too, where we just want, we scream, this could have been done so much better. You crop in and you increase the contrast, bring down the highlights on this thing, you might have a really interesting image here. I think Dwayne mentioned it, that I wouldn't advance this to tier 2, not as is, but I think there's an image within an image there, as Greg said, too. Properly processed, it'll increase the dramaticism. Is that a word? It'll look a lot better. There, we'll leave it at that. Okay.
It's a word now.
It is now.
Word. Well, we move on to the next one.
Sure. Yep. Dave King actually talked about sunsets that, gosh, it makes us feel all fuzzy and warm and in the moment and what have you. And a lot of times it's hard to bring that feeling that you had, that emotion, to a two-dimensional object. And generally, to me anyway, a sunset, and this is a very interesting sunset, please don't misunderstand, needs something to anchor it. A lot of times in the fair, we'll see the pier, or one of the piers at a sunset. It's kind of stereotypical, but it's better than just a sunset picture because it's anchored with something. I'm not saying the pier is right. I know what you're trying to do with the foreground, but I'm not finding that anchor yet. That's just me.
As this comes up, it has great initial impact. I love the coloring that I'm seeing throughout the sunset. That's super, super cool. Yeah. I would actually suggest to the maker, get rid of the ground totally. Pick a part of that sky and submit this as an abstract. Mm-hmm. On the technical side, I would advise the maker to zoom in to 300%, because as you see me pressing my face into the camera, giving you that amazing view of my forehead, what I'm doing is tracking along the edge line of the mountain and the skyline. And there's a processing line. Call it over sharpening is the term I normally hear. But as you come down the mountain, and especially when you get around the larger chunk of trees, you will see that unnatural line right around the contrast colors. That's generally some form of over sharpening. That can be painted up pretty easily. This is probably not going into documentary, so you can probably get rid of the telephone poles because they're just not adding anything to this. And then along the top right-hand edge, that could be part of the natural cloud. I'm looking at camera right.
All the way to the top.
All the way at the top, there's a horizontal line. And when you move to the left-hand side of the photograph, I'm going to use a very technical term. Steve, keep going left, 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 up. The technical term is, I don't know what the hell happened.
Okay, yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
The same thing's
always-
happening in the upper right-hand corner. You know, as a
Yeah.
horizontal line instead of just a vertical line. Actually, all the way across the top.
It may have been a duplicate of the layer, and the layer was moved
Yeah.
over a little bit. It's what it looks like.
Exactly like what
Yes,
it is.
exactly what it is.
And now that I've spoken on the first 3 photographs, I need to say we don't go looking to talk poorly of photographs. As a judge, we need to point out what the things we see that would hold you back. And then we also need to talk about the things that are really cool. So it really is painful when we don't have great things to say all the way through every photograph. It's not our intention.
Okay. All right.
The goal for me is always like there are things that were pointed out here that I as a photographer love taking sunset photos, and I'm usually really disappointed with them other than like reminding me of this nice sky. But to me, the lower left corner of that picture was the best part for me. I do like the land. I like the colors and the drama in the clouds above that, but it's like the bottom half and the left 2/3 again, where you've got some shapes and the nice silhouette of the landscape against you have the land, you have the sea, and you have the sky, and probably the most interesting detailed part of the clouds in that lower quadrant there. And the rest of it feels like it's too noisy to do much with as an abstract. That noise can be removed and processed into ways that might be more interesting. But watch those details and try to focus in, because you've got some beautiful things going on, but in the capture, in the processing, and in cropping things down, bring the attention into where the best drama is.
Steven, do you have the ability of doing a quick crop?
Yeah.
So we were talking about finding the photograph. If you would, take that right-hand anchor point, the bottom anchor point, and let's drag that to the bottom of the black shadow in the middle of the larger tree. Down, down, and then just drag it to the left. Keep going, keep going. A little more. Stop right there. Bring it down. Stop there, up. Yep, stop it right there. Grab the upper left anchor point, bring that down, turn this into a panorama. Stop there, drag to the right. Stop, keep going, stop. Move the entire crop to the right. Stop and bring it up. And this particular crop is what is going to give you an anchor point on both sides. We've cropped away 90% of the photograph, so I probably wouldn't submit it as is, but to show you a photograph that's hiding in the overall photo, that's what I'm seeing.
And to learn to see it when you're there.
Because you've got having the hill on the left and the trees on the right, you end up framing the scene and bringing your eye out into the sky rather than having that I love the color of the water that was in front of the land, but it distracts, and this really brings the focus in compositionally in a nice way, but the detail isn't there.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Let's move on to the next artist. And let's go to Ace Hoffman.
I'm going to start by saying I would be hard pressed to advance this, and it's number one, it comes down to two things. So we're flat lit across the entire photograph. Whether you're looking at the rocks, looking at the sand, looking at the water, everything seems to have the exact same tonality. The only two areas in this photograph where I see any color difference is on the rock that is slightly left of center at the very bottom, and then the rock that's behind the stone structure that has a little bit of golden tone to it. And this is what happens when you're photographing probably San Diego or any of the beach communities, and you're covered with the June bloom. This looks to be fairly early morning, but we need something to separate our rock structure from the rest of the photograph. It's a lot of words for me to say that. Overall, to me personally, in my opinion, whatever that's worth, is it's lacking impact.
Okay.
Creativity could be enhanced by backing away, because I don't think this particular subject is strong enough to carry the photograph as it's set dead center.
Okay. All right.
Just taking a very simple crop on this, to crop off the right-hand side and the bottom, because there's a little stone over at the right that pulls my eye out, and there's a stone at the bottom. It still doesn't make it a strong photograph from, it's a interesting stack of rocks, but like Dwayne pointed out, it lacks drama, it lacks like all of the interest of these rocks and the relationship to each other for me. Different time of day, and more processing just to be able to bring out some of the texture and impact of the rocks. There are things that you can do separating the background from the rocks and artificially lighting some of that, but better to find the right time of day that find the drama at the time you're taking the picture rather than trying to create it, and then pay attention to the distractions and off-centering it a little bit.
All right.
During Lois's presentation, she talked about horizon lines. And in this case, I'm not sure if we're looking at curvature of the globe when you look at the water in the background. And when I take a closer look at the rock structure itself also appears to be tilting to the right. So I'm waiting for it to fall over. And in a competition, judges are definitely going to comment on that.
Yeah, the horizon is definitely crooked.
Yeah.
Just a little.
It's a little
but
bit.
It's enough.
Let's look at his next one.
Just kind of based on what I'm seeing with these two, I think something the photographers should consider in the future is changing their vantage point. If this was shot, I mean, I know it's too late to do anything now. I'm just kind of throwing that out there because it looks like you got a little series here going. series here going. Perhaps if this was taken, there's a reason we all see the caricature of the photographer jumping up and down and moving around in movies and what have you, because that photographer is looking for the best vantage point, the best shot. And I'm almost thinking that you've got an interesting subject here. I just think you need to approach it from a different angle, literally. And I mean, I'm a little taller, so back when I was in college, when I was shooting for the school newspaper, I would choose to hold my camera up and shoot down because I had that ability to do so. The same thing may apply here, and that way you, instead of shooting for a good sky or shooting down to a neat beach scene, instead you should be thinking about that. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Another vantage point would be lay down, get down on the ground, sit and look up at it, because then you could separate. You'd have this interesting structure with the sky in the background and the clouds, and then instead of having this sculpture compete with the rocks behind it, you might have a much more interesting viewpoint.
Let's look at the next artist's work. Adrian Myers.
super cool, and I would be willing to accept this into tier 1.
Okay.
Awesome subject matter. We've got a really cool marble sitting on top of 2 fork tines. Interesting light patterns. We've got the patterns of the forks coming through the ball. Things that I would suggest that would make this stronger, or if you want to set this up and shoot it again. When you look at the ball, there are 2 light sources inside, probably reflecting off of the fork tines that can be brought down, because we're going to call out that those 2 red spots specifically are probably blown out. Try coming down on your exposure a bit more so we actually bring down all of the highlights within the ball. I would like to see the background taken to total black on this. That's going to allow it to pop out even more. And as this is probably a project that gives you time to play, I don't think the forks are going to run away. Aim your light so you're reflecting more color, especially off of the right-hand fork, so it's not just black. Throw a red or blue light on there to bring in more of the coloring. When you look at the left fork, look at how cool that color difference is as it goes from the blues on that very first time into the reds that are in the middle of it, and then carry that through the ball. Bring that type of lighting quality onto the camera right fork, and this is going to be an oh my god image when it goes into competition.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, what category would you place this in? Would you consider this a still life, or would this be abstract?
Either of those.
I hear Monica shouting in the back of my head. This could be a great macro.
Yeah, would
Yeah,
be.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
One
think
of the-
it's abstract enough to be abstract because we know what it is.
I was going to say, whether it's macro or abstract,
Or still
you know
life?
you have a strong image when you can look at everyday subject matter, and when you're looking at it in the final photograph, you're going, what the hell is it? And it's just cool.
Would you consider this possibly a still life?
Definitely still life, and personally, like I said, I would still lean towards macro, especially if you were to crop this in a little bit tighter. Maybe take out the top of the ball and just use the middle 2/3 of this, because then you're getting in even closer, and it's eliminating the clues that I had to figure out what it was I was looking at.
Yeah, I like the composition of it, but I think that's a good good comment on it, that there could be an interesting abstract in there. A lot of beautiful things going on in the marble itself, and on the tines, reflections around the reflections of the marble on the fork tines.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a nice composition, and
All right.
I agree with Dwayne's suggestions. And there's that one thing that really catches my eye in a lot of cases is flat areas. There's a flat area on the left that is just sort of empty of pixels and texture and stuff, and that pulls me out towards the edge there.
All right. Let's take a look at our second piece.
I should probably tell you I'm more of a my artistic taste tend more towards Rembrandt than say Picasso, but this one, like the marble one, really intrigued me. I'm not normally an abstract kind of guy, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. And again, I think this is another one that probably would get fairly unanimous agreement from 3 judges that it should advance to round 2. Again, for me, it's the detail inside the light bulb and how sharp it is. I love that. Absolutely love that. Again, like I don't know if it's the same person or not, but the marble, the same really cool lighting. Someone spent some time with this. I'm almost wondering if you want to consider the top half of the threads on the left-hand side a little more detail. I'm just throwing that out there. Touching me not too much.
Agreed with John, and the next couple comments I have are really nitpicky, but they can make the difference between an award and placing. When you're working with macro photography, it is so critical to wipe down and dust your subject before you start. And close the doors, the windows in the room that you're working in. And before you point your camera, give it 10 minutes for everything to settle down, because you can wipe off that reflective glass and the dust particles will literally settle down again. So they need to be slowly wiped off a second time. I love the cropping to the right-hand side. I would like to see the cropping either tighter or expanded on the left, because we're cropping off the bottom edge of the bulb. And as John has pointed out, maybe just a bit of backlight from behind the screw on this light bulb. That's going to give it a really cool edge light separation effect. Look at how cool the separation is around the glass. And if that was to carry on through the screw mount, this would be incredible. Like I said, my comments on this one, very nitpicky, but those are things that can hold you back in placing or getting an award.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree on the cropping. And the most interesting part for me is the bottom half of the bulb, and cropping in. There's a lot of dust, like Dwayne said. That's something that can be cleaned up in post, but better to get on the front end. But the texture in the bottom of the bulb, and all those rainbow colors and the purples and blues and the screw part, and the detail in the filament, all that stuff is really interesting and beautiful and nicely lit.
If you want to play, turn this into another panorama. Cut the top half of that light bulb out 100%.
Okay. All right. The next artist's work will be Chris Dawson.
I like the control of light in this particular shot, because that window opening could blow out really quickly, depending on that exposure would have been set. So I'm glad it doesn't get too white hot or blown out on this shot. So definitely credit to keeping control of the light inside of such a very clean, and all the line work really holds up because of that.
Yeah. It's really beautiful, really pristine. The geometry is the story, and all of it is. There's some of it that's just super crisp, clean, up in horizontal verticals, but the angles make it a little bit more interesting. And the one thing that draws me out is the seam over on the left side of the seat there.
Sure.
It just pulls me out to the edge, because everything else is so crisp.
Yeah, that can get cropped. That actually would get. I 100% agree with that.
Really nice tonal range everywhere.
This would be fantastic in still life. If you really want to drive judges nuts and give them something to talk about. In Photoshop, drop a vertical guide in and straighten out the windowsill and the line. Actually, go to the windowsill on the right.
The windowsill.
Right. Yep, those two lines there.
Yeah, those can straighten.
Those are tilting slightly to the right. So if you were to drop this into the architectural category, you're going to get binged for that.
Yeah. It's a
lines out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vertical line.
Yeah,
it's a vertical line.
No, go back, Steve.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, up and down.
Go straight up. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
That line is about 3 pixels further to the right on top than it is on the bottom.
All right, I think they all are. This here and this here.
And my God, I hate Jim Doyle because I can say this now.
Actually,
that's a great point, because you got to remember that when it comes to post-processing, that's legal to do. You took that image. This is not like the old artificial intelligence thing or any of that. You're just manipulating or enhancing, in this case, pixels you've already created. And it's perfect, particularly in a category strong as architecture.
right.
You've got to be right on.
But I've got a comment here. In this shaded area here to the left, you've got tones that are so close together that they're merging with one another.
Got it.
Keep it shaded in here, but you can see edgewise it's very flat. Actually, the whole shot's a little bit flat. I would recommend some type of just a micro contrast technique that pulls these tones apart, so that each one has its own distinct character in terms of the objects in the scene.
But with everything being said, this is one that I would fight for to make sure it cleared tier 1.
Absolutely.
All right.
I want to make sure that my comments are coming across at least somewhat positive. I'm going to blame the white line across the bottom on Steve's monitor.
But that was the first thing my eye went to as well.
That's a zoom. That's a zoom thing here.
It's not in the actual
Yeah.
image.
This white line across the top and bottom.
Yeah.
That's this green on my monitor, but that's zoom.
Okay.
Well, then in that case, I'm blaming Steve's Zoom. I think this is a really cool abstract. I would have no problem submitting this into tier 1. Cool texture. We've got blacks to whites. We've got gradation throughout the entire range. Nothing's blown out. If I wanted to be nitpicky and personally as a judge, I would fight to keep it. You could argue that the blacks fall to pure black in that little ridge on the middle lower left.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think that actually adds to the image because I don't think we need to see any detailing there.
Okay.
I would also recommend playing. I love the cropping as is. I'd also like to see this as a 1x1 crop, a square crop.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Next artist work. Deborah Jones. Oh, kind of small there.
Lowe's commented on this earlier. Check your file sizes before upload.
Yeah.
Yeah, pixelation definitely is there.
And Chris Dawson thanks you all for your comments.
Absolutely.
You're welcome, Chris. Please don't wait for us in the parking lot. We won't be there.
Not in Chris's parking lot anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So, assuming this was sharp and assuming that this was a file upload mistake, this is actually really cool. I would love to see this in full resolution. I would normally complain about everything being centered, especially the sunset. But I think because of what I am appearing to see in the formation of the trees, it pulls us through that tunnel. Having all of the leaves, the fact that the maker took the time to get on the ground and keep all of the foreground in here, and little dapples of golden light across all those leaves all adds interest to me.
Well, it's like Greg was saying earlier about lying down near the rock pile shots. We were talking about vantage point, and that's one of the things that's the strongest about this image. This would not have worked if it was taken at, normal snapshot height, if you will.
Yeah, it's a lot more
Wouldn't
drama.
have been near strong, let me rephrase that.
The colors in the background are bothering me. The green and the blue just don't seem natural. That are beyond the leaves.
They seem to be pushed.
And the haloing coming off to the upper part of the sun.
Yeah, where that
It's just too bright for me, that whole area. I know you're saying it pulls you in, but I find it too blinding.
Yeah, I think masking the background, the sky and all that, the blue green, and bringing down the highlights back there, maybe even adding some more blur to that, darkening it overall a little bit, it would bring your eye more into the foreground. And if the foreground isn't really sharp in this one, I'm not sure that it would get anywhere, but I like the overall concept, and I love the texture of the leaves, and I like that you've got the cool colors in the top and the warm in the bottom, and what's happening, the light on the leaves is interesting to me, but I'd want those leaves to be really crisp in the foreground and be able to see that detail, and then have the detail disappear toward the sky.
And one last comment. Again, all of these comments are assuming that the original photograph is actually sharp versus pixelated. Play with the warping tools in Photoshop or whatever post-production. Straighten that tree that's on the camera right out so it's not leaning over so much, and maybe bring down that horizon line on the right-hand side so it looks more symmetric all the way across the photograph.
All right, let's take a look at the second image. Oh, sorry.
I like this one for immediate impact and surprise, and just a different perspective. And the light on the pillar and coming from, hitting their legs in the middle. There's a few little distractions around the edges, and there's I guess it's a pillar that's right next to the blue jeans on the left side of the jeans that is kind of sticking out a little obvious. There's a spot down by the heel of the guy with the blue jeans that pulls me away from the central part of it. And there's an object, lower left corner that pulls me out also. But I like the juxtapositions of the legs and the column there and the light.
And also to get rid of the extra shoe on the right,
Yeah, on the right hand side.
Oh, yeah.
or the other right.
Oh, the other side.
The right,
Yeah, right
whatever
there.
that is there.
There's another one over here.
But that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Next artist's work. Let's go to Joan Everts.
Let me see this. I like the juxtaposition of the green and the orange. It almost feels like two different pieces in some ways, because the right side and the left side are not. They feel separated too much. There's this space in the middle, but there's a lot of beautiful, interesting textures on both sides throughout. I imagine this must be in digital would be the category for it, although I guess abstract too.
I love this photograph and would definitely argue to get it submitted into tier 1.
Yeah.
To the maker. Think about your final production. How do you want people to view it? How do you plan on printing this? Because if you plan on putting a mat over it, is that mat going to hide the edges where you're tapered off to white and now giving us a photograph with a hard edge all the way around from the matting? Because that's kind of how I would like to see it on the monitor.
Kind of
Otherwise, is your matting going to end somewhere in the white paper so we have the digital border that you've created there?
It's almost a 16 by 20 proportion anyway. I mean, I can't tell exactly, but it's pretty darn close. Where you can almost make this a bleed. Greg was talking much earlier about, they were talking about matting, and Lois too, about matting, versus full bleed. This one might actually work very well as a full bleed, but again, like Dwayne mentioned, you want to make sure you get all that white border on the outside. If you expand the white border a little bit when you print it.
There is a certain amount of detail and beauty that the inkjet print as a medium will produce that a C print will not produce. I would love to see this, like John said, full bleed, and I love to see this on a good high quality
Rag paper
rag paper that just pulls that texture and detail out, because it's all part of the composition of this piece.
This would be amazing on something like William Turner or a very coarse washi paper.
I agree. There's
agree.
one I'm using now, the Ilford Gallery Gold Fiber. Has anybody used that?
No.
I have not.
Very expensive paper, very nice paper.
I only do C prints.
Yeah, I mean, they C prints, for those who are watching, is the standard color prints that we got.
It's not standard. It's just process. It's a wet process it's exposed with light versus ink sprayed on a substrate, which is what you're talking about. Which just would look absolutely beautiful on, like you guys are mentioning, a rag type paper.
Yeah, rag paper. Yeah. There's a certain amount of detail and control that you have. Which over your depth and your blacks are rich, deep black on a inkjet print. They don't ever quite get deep black on the C print.
And if you're listening to us going, what the hell are they talking about? Print this on an 8x10. Look for the date that Eric Joseph will be at there doing his talk. Put a digital copy on your memory stick, and he will likely do a print for you on whatever papers he has available that day.
Right.
Or there's a reason that's so darn popular, that particular seminar that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do my own printing, so it's just that's beautiful.
So do I.
Yeah,
that's nice, but our
your printers are bigger though. All right, so we got one last one. We've got
one more picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize. Joan's gonna kick me in around. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, again, I'm hoping that the white line across the top is something that's going on. Yeah, because we're seeing that a lot. I don't know how much of that. Yeah.
That's Zoom.
And on the
Zoom.
That's Zoom.
I don't know who was said earlier when they saw that white line, it's where their eyes went to immediately. Well, that's just the way we're trained.
Now hold on a minute. You guys can see it, but the audience can't. So
you're right.
Right, the audience can't see it. Because they're going through StreamYard. You guys see it because you're on Zoom. It's your Zoom producing that. So if I were to bring over what the audience see right now, which is right here.
Oh, that's okay.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not the image. It's not.
Maybe you bring that up after I take a hit of acid.
Didn't we? I think he put in the email, don't do hits of acid before you do this. Right?
Oh shoot! He said
No,
that.
he said singular. I did too.
Is that acids plural?
That's a lot of
I love the
acid.
color.
The
in
color
this.
is great.
It
Absolutely.
reminds me of Banksy.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
And I mean that, and I love Banksy. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So,
what's really interesting is that the head, the top of the body looks like it's cut out with scissors, and it is
The bottom fades
gradual
off.
little fade into paint on the wall.
Yeah.
And that it's kind of interesting. It feels like that a little bit too much of that effect. It could be cleaned up a little bit in the masking on that and make it
So I'm gonna
so
ask
the
you-
base sort of sticks out.
So
And
this
I'm gonna ask you to do something that's totally not allowed normally. Can you zoom into 100%, please?
that's 200%, 100%.
So when we're looking at these photographs on a monitor, especially with Zoom, I'm on a 27-inch, and so I'm sure I'm looking at this at half of its actual size. And I couldn't tell if those were tattoos on his face or if those were markings coming through the print, the texture of the building. Now that I can see that they're tattoos, yeah, this is really cool.
Is this a Banksy? Did she photograph a Banksy somewhere? That's what it kind of looks like.
I don't think so, because if you look at the highlight on his forehead, that's coming from a light, or he's not printed it on the wall.
Okay, all right, maybe you're right. Okay, you're right.
The body print on most of the wall is super cool.
Yeah,
However this was done, I would
have brought the texture of the wall through.
yes.
Yeah.
I would have brought it
Yeah,
right
please.
through, integrated with the character. That's my own main criticism. This looks too much like a composite, and it shouldn't.
I would argue that it fully is a composite, because if you look at the camera right side of his cheek,
Right.
there's an unnatural gray masking error.
Yeah, I realize it's a fully composite, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't look like a composite. It needs to look like it's part of
Turn
the
the
wall.
opacity down on his face,
Yeah.
get rid of that highlight, and
Yeah.
this would definitely be entered.
Yeah, this would be great.
The geometry is a little. It could be cleaned up with the geometry tools to the edges of the window. You've got a nice vertical on the bricks on the right side,
Right.
and you could do the ground as well.
Right.
Just square everything up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that would make it a little bit stronger.
I like what
Yeah.
you said about geometry. It reminds me of a math joke. What happens when a little acorn grows up? What's it say? Gee, I'm a tree.
Is that a dad joke?
I'll show myself out.
No.
No.
Steve, why isn't your mute button working today?
I just love the textures in the walls and the
Yes.
wall bricks and the color of the red inside the window, the red against the green.
Yeah, pull the left side of the window, the left side top corner of the window to the left. Straighten out the top side of the window a little bit, because I actually like the bottom not being square.
Yeah.
And then turn down the opacity and saturation in the gentleman's face. Keep the tattoos there. Let that building bleed through a little bit more. Not to the point that he blends in with the entire body, but just to bring down the tonality of his face doesn't match any other part of the photograph.
I talk about that as integration when you're combining different media together, making sure that they feel like they're done in the same media. So it now feels like the face is pasted on top, cut out where everything else feels it has integrity, and it's just the face that doesn't. And I love the graffiti cut on the coat too.
Yeah, I'm. The more I look at this, I'm starting to see what she actually was doing. She did integrate the wall with the body, but what she was trying to do was get the body to slowly come out of the wall to become a true
Right.
life figure, right
Yeah.
in here. That's what she was doing. I'm not sure if I agree with the approach, but nice job.
And that brings up a really interesting point. Congratulations to anybody who wants to be experimental, and I think that's true of any artist. Submit this to forums like this. Submit it to your local camera clubs, because you're going to get feedback from different people. Because as soon as judges start talking about a photograph, then it's going to give us more time to look closer and closer and begin nitpicking. And when you're entering a competition like the International Photo Exhibit, you kind of want your photograph to pop up and then go away. Have the judges say yes and move on. As we start talking about it, then we're going to start trying to convince each other of the things that are right, wrong, indifferent with the photograph, and it creates a larger possibility that it may not make it to the next tier.
Okay. All right.
Cool image, Joan.
That was Joan. Okay, so
Love that, Joan.
Will Velarde.
Penguins!
If you haven't heard it yet, Lyle Lovett has a song about penguins. It's awesome. Anyway, you know what's kind of cool about this? I like the way the snow kind of swoops down, like it's almost a reverse wave from the top right down into the middle where it falls in. I assume that the photographer knows this, but it is
Disqualified.
Disqualified, exactly. I just noticed that as I was looking over the whole image.
Thank you, Helena.
Our studio, you never know. I'll stop. God, it's not even 1 o'clock yet. But
It is for me.
Yeah. Really cool diagonal going from the top right down to the no more than 2 hits of acid, Dwayne, just so you know. But I like the diagonal where it goes from the top right down to the bottom left. That works really well. It's a real. I would advance this to tier 2. I can tell you that for sure, just by looking at it. Assuming it didn't have the name on it.
So because we don't have any penguins jumping over the edge, I don't think we actually need the water in there. I would like to see this cropped to the bottom of the top of the shadow line into the iceberg.
I kind of like the colors and everything right there. I like the way it works where the penguins are kind of offset. Either way it works. It's a very strong image, and that background just makes it.
Well, the background's great because I thought it was sky first, and then I saw the detail of the loose snow, and it felt like a wave blowing up out of that crevasse on the left.
No, I would go back and hit escape and just pull in on the left-hand side only.
Okay.
Yes, agreed.
Right,
just raise the top.
I'm not sure I like it. I kind of like that edge over there.
Yeah,
You're talking even more, Dwayne?
No, go to the, pull it back to the left, please.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right there. Now grab the bottom and bring it up above the shadow line at the bottom, right there.
It makes that diagonal.
Oh, yeah,
that makes a perfect diagonal there.
Yeah, that's nice. Bringing the top down a little bit?
No. If you bring the top down, you're going to lose the reverse wave that we're all in love with.
All right.
Yeah. This is a strong image. This is one of the stronger images we've seen today. Yeah. And it has lots of possibilities. And like Dwayne was pointing out, I believe what Dwayne was talking earlier about how, in tier 1, we only got 30 or 45 seconds max. We're looking at 300 or 400 images, a lot of images. So we don't have time to sit there and discuss like we are here. This one left a really positive impact moving on to tier 2. But I think that you should definitely consider the crop that Dwayne mentioned. I think that worked really well.
And that That white area,
It's
right
too hot.
there, is a little flat. So if you can get any more detail out of that,
Yeah, where Steve was just pointing out, where Greg is talking about, just pull the highlights down, maybe 2 or 3 points.
really
And
nice.
because of my 2 hits of acid, I would love to see a penguin sliding on his back.
Dwayne, he is, buddy. No more for you.
That's 5, Dwayne.
Anthony, are you really counting?
Yeah. What?
Oh my God.
All
I
right.
love this already.
Did you say you saw God?
Oh.
You saw God. That
He said he's
getting a little too. No, okay.
That's very cute.
It's cute. Couple of it's not sharp enough.
No, it's a little.
It's distractingly
Distraction
not
at
sharp.
the top.
Yeah, the top of that could cropped out.
I mean, actually, you could crop just to the 2 penguins as well as even a vertical. I'm not sure you need the rest of it, assuming the image can be sharpened.
Right.
Find a photo contest on the 14th. Submit this.
Mr. Hall, Hallmark Cards is calling.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
I like having a little more space on the sides, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
That's
sure.
really the story right there.
But again, it's the same thing, that this is an image that will probably advance to tier 2, but because we're not going to have so much time to sit here and play with this. But let me tell you, when it gets to tier 2 in the print stage, we'll start really getting picky, as we've been getting on some of these tier 1 images.
Yeah, I would argue that there needs to be a little bit more space on the camera right.
Yeah.
And that's because of this concept of balance.
Mm-hmm.
The penguin on the left is heavier, so he's going to make the photograph want to tilt
Yeah.
on the left-hand side. So
Yeah.
adding a little bit of space to the right helps balance it out.
That's good, right there.
Nice.
Feels better.
Yeah, a little more space on top at this point, because we're now moving into almost a pano. There we go. So now you're hitting on the rule of thirds. You're not centered. It feels fairly well balanced. And the only complaint is she's whining about not having a golden ring from the other penguin.
Penguins don't do golden rings, buddy.
You're right. It should have been a diamond.
They're
My
seaweed
bad.
colored. Just curious, and I'm not sure it's really an issue, if there's any more detail that can be gotten in the black, just on the midtones in the black area, just a wee bit. I mean, but that's again minor, but it will make a difference. And the difference between just hanging in tier 2, well, it actually looks pretty good there.
Go to his back.
There's a lot of noise in there.
Yeah. It's also it's a small JPEG too that we're looking at. But by the time it gets to the print stage in tier 2,
Go to the back
we're
of his
looking
head,
at all
Steve.
this stuff.
Yeah.
We got more time.
So from tier 1, what do they have? Almost a month before tier 2 is submissions necessary?
It's
From tier 1, what happens is they are accepted to the fair,
Right,
and
but
then for tier 2, they actually bring in physical prints.
right. So they have 30 days, right?
So I think it's a month.
About
It's a
April
month.
15th to
So-
May 11th.
So they've got time to work on it and mount it and mat it and bring it on.
May
in.
11th and 12th, because it's
Okay.
actually 2 days. But the tier 2 acceptance letters go out on April 15th.
Okay.
I think she mentioned tax day earlier.
Okay.
Watch my
Stephen,
mouth.
look
That
at the
was-
back of the male penguin's head.
How do I know which one is male?
The one on the left.
The bigger one.
Just
Just thought I asked.
Yeah. You're getting awfully specific there, Dwayne.
I didn't say the back of Stephen's head.
Well, on his and mine both, you're going to need sunglasses.
It's up to him.
Oh Yeah, that's something out the head, Stephen.
This,
It's funny way to said that, Jennifer.
Zoom in, trace around the edge of your penguin. You can paint out the line that's following the back of his head.
Well, that's not fair because this
Oh,
is a JPEG that we're enlarging to what percent? I can't even tell. 400%.
Okay.
But your point is well taken, and I think on the sunset where you pointed it out, you had a legitimate argument that was really not well done. But on this one, I don't know. I'm not sure that's fair. It actually would look pretty good. I have a feeling, but there is some of it that's a residue that's showing up on the to the left of the to the right hand side of the head, the back of the head, I guess. Actually, like you said.
So the artist can have that rich
Yeah, and I
detail
don't know.
there.
I mean, that just could be JPEG.
Yeah.
JPEG gone wild. There's a good name for a.
well, there's some effects that you can do with reducing noise and playing with the highlights and contrast and different tonal ranges, and then masking out the background and removing the noise in the background while trying to bring out the detail in the penguins. It's a little mid-rangey for me. So like overall the contrast might be a little bit better, and that's playing with tonal highlights and shadows. And yeah, actually just that noise reduction kind of helps some things, but it takes away some of the detail. So there are things that you can do with something like this, and then find like that little line on the back of the head that feels a little weird there. That may be too small in a printed image to see, but just little details to try to pay attention to, because it's
that's also the difference between like a first, second, third, and honorable mention versus just hanging.
Right.
Those little details. So we've had time to look at them, and I may like the image, and then Greg points out about the line. Well, chances are, once we start looking at that kind of stuff, it's going to get kicked back down the line where it's not going to place, and these details are very important.
They all fall into the classification of the word I used earlier, nitpicky.
Well, yeah.
Perfection is perfection.
and that's what. But
And if you come back the next day, you're going to get a different result.
You mean after we get back from lunch?
Depends on the lunch.
But the nitpicky things are important to learn, to get your eye on those things so that they don't become the thing that gets you out of the awards. Just little technical details or lighting things that you can fix. There's some other things you could do with vignetting and with contrast. I think that bringing the penguins out against the background a little bit in this that could make it really nice.
All right. Overall,
All right.
pretty good group of images.
Yeah, pretty good. This is fantastic. So thank you for people who
Sardines and
submitted.
seaweed for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you,
Houston.
Stephen.
You very well. Thank you all. Aaron Houston, Ace Hoffman, Adrian Myers, Chris Dawson, Deborah Jones, Joan Evers, and Will Velarde. A huge thank you to our judges, Dwayne Murphy, Anthony Washington, John Watts, Greg Clampt, Jennifer Wolf, and Lois Sakai. This is great. Thank you so much. This is fantastic. Hopefully everybody has enjoyed it. Chris Dawson says, really inspiring. Thank you very much. Will says, thank you for all your feedback. Great appreciated, much appreciated. It's a job. I think it's a great job, David Glenn. And let's see. Okay, Deborah is telling me how to spell her name right. Okay, so
I want to know exactly where that V goes in Deborah.
Sorry, Deborah.
It's silent V.
Okay, so this is the Photoshop Music Group meeting. We have another meeting coming. I think our next meeting is going to be Stephen Bay, landscape photographer. Stephen Bay will be here sharing his landscape genius in his work. a wonderful photographer. You're going to really enjoy it. But okay, we're here once every month for the Photo Use Group meeting, but I'm also here every week for the 3D presentations as well. So every Saturdays we normally do the Blender 3D for anybody out there who's interested in kind of dabbling into 3D.
All right.
So thank you all. Thank you, Jenny, Greg, John, Anthony, Dwayne.
Nice
and
to
Lois
see
is
everyone.
gone. Yes.
Yeah,
Ladies and germs, it's been a pleasure.
Yes. All right. We'll see everybody. Bye.
And we'll see you guys, in about the third weekend of April, I believe, something like
Yep.
that. So
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah,
All right.
in person.